I'm now with Derek Bentley on the Fairthorpe Sports Car Club stand. Good afternoon, Derek, and welcome to the Classic Motor Show 2025.
Thank you very much.
So, can you give me a brief history on the club?
Yes, the club started in 1960 as the Fairthorpe Owners Club, which obviously was, as the name implies, was for owners of Fairthorpe cars. Because obviously there was a limited base, because there was a limited number of Fairthorpes produced, they subsequently invited Turners into the club, because although Turners were there was no connection between Fairthorpe and Turners, they were a similar concept. Again, fiberglass bodied car sold in component form to build at home, and then over the years the club has been extended to include, so it starts up now as Fairthorpe, Turner, Rochdale, Tornado, and any historic specials from the 50s and 60s that are not big enough in themselves to have their own owners club.
So do you supply parts to these different cars?
We not as such, but we do have the body moulds for the Fairthorpes and the Turners, so any panel can be produced, although we don't actively sell spares as such. But obviously we assist owners with supplies of where parts come from and where they can be obtained.
So can you give me a little bit of information on the cars on the stand?
Yes, the Turner is a 1960 with a BMCA series engine, owned by me for the last 25 years. The Rochdale Olympic, again, was an unusual car in the sense that it was supplied in the 1960s, was never fully assembled or put on the road, and when the owner died about 10 years ago, the car came up for sale having never been on the road, and it was then sold and restored to the condition you see. The Rochdale Olympic was originally produced to take either Morris Minor or Riley 1.5 components, and this particular one was sold with Morris Minor components and a Morris Minor engine, and it's still got the BMCA series engine now.
What about this Turner here?
This Turner again is mechanically pretty similar to this one, again BMCA series based. Been in the ownership of this guy for, I think, in excess of 30 years.
So how many members have you got in the club?
We've got round about the 200 members. The membership varies. Like a lot of clubs, we are finding problems with membership in that these sort of cars don't attract too many younger members. We have a few younger members who are generally sort of people who remember their fathers or grandfathers having these sorts of cars, but yes, unfortunately a lot of people in their 20s, to them a sort of car from the 1980s or 90s even is a classic car.
So how many did they produce of the Turners?
The Turners, they produced about 600 altogether. They came out in the mid-50s. The company was closed down in the mid-50s because Jack Turner, the owner, was going into hospital for a serious operation, but he actually survived into his 90s and only died sort of about 10 years ago.
And what about the Rochdales?
Rochdale Olympic, Rochdale started producing fiberglass bodies. Initially they started as alloy bodies as one-offs. They then went into the fiberglass business in about 1953, because fiberglass was the new material to make it cheap to produce one-off bodies. They produced a number of bodies, both one-off and latterly produced a model called the GT, which was designed primarily to update your upright four-pot and make it into a sports car. and then in the late 1950s produced the Olympic, which was an all fiberglass monocoque car to take either Morris Minor or O'Reilly 1.5 mechanics.
So how many different types, models of cars do you think you have in the club?
Oh, crikey.
No, makes I mean, not models, makes.
Different makes, probably upward of 50.
Really? As many as that?
Well, I mean, the major makes that we cater for are Fairthorpe Turner, Rochdale Tornado, Ashley, Falcon and EB. But then we include, in fact, any of the other multitude of fiberglass bodies that were produced in the 50s. You know, how you could produce your sports car from by buying a fiberglass body and putting it on. So yes, the number of models and makes that we cater for are almost endless. And of course, anybody who produced a one-off special in the 50s or 60s.
Well, thank you very much for the information and the information on the cars as well. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.